Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tennessee Knights of Columbus podcast. I am your host, Justin LaGrange, State Social Media Director. We are privileged and honored to have with us today one of the Assistant General Agents for Tennessee, Brother Lance Jolly. How are you today, brother?
I'm good, Justin. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us. And as we said, kind of off, off camera here, we're going to start a little bit about yourself and why you joined the Knights of Columbus and then ultimately became an agent. So go introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So everyone, I'm Lance Jolly. I'm the Assistant General Agent. I cover Eastern Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, which is all of Daniel Shackle's region. We do have another Assistant General Agent, that Stephen Regan, that covers primarily the eastern half of the state, but my part is about the western part of Kentucky, the eastern part of Arkansas, and the western part of Tennessee. So it's a pretty vast area. I'm married, have four children. Our oldest two are girls, youngest two are boys. So Madison is 22, Emma is 18. We have David that's 13 and Lincoln that's 11. So our oldest graduates college in May, and our second child just started college in August, and then we have an eighth grader and a sixth grader. So as you can imagine, we're busy all the time, which is great. I started with the Knights. It's a funny story. So um, again, married. I didn't mention this. So we've been married for 23 years. My wife has put up with me since 1995. So quite a long time. We dated for 3 years before we got married, and started having kids, right after we got married, and haven't looked back. But she and I actually went to the same grade school. We went to St. Anne and Bartlett. We both graduated from there. She's a few years younger than I am. And St. Anne actually is my home parish and home council. We got married there in 98. So you could say that our roots run pretty deep in the parish. But I had worked after I got out, graduated college. I was in banking and lending and was doing that for about 20 years, 21 years. And I'd worked for the company before I started with the Knights. I'd been there for 17 years. And about the last 7 years I was there, I was really just kind of looking for something different. And I always had men come up to me after mass and say, "Hey, you should join the Knights." Well, they would never tell me why I should join the Knights. And so now I use that story as to why I personally joined the Knights. Um, Coincidentally, my brother-in-law, who is also a Knight, he knew that I was looking for something different. And Stephen Regan was the agent actually at the time here in Memphis. And Stephen had met with my brother-in-law, and Stephen just asked, "Hey, do you know anybody that's looking for a career or a career change?" And my brother-in-law said that I was. And when Stephen called me, and I don't know if he remembers this, but my brother-in-law never said, "Hey, there's a guy that's going to call you from the Knights. They're looking for a field agent." And so I get a phone call from Stephen out of the blue. And I was like, "Why is this guy calling me? Like, what? I don't want. I've got insurance. I don't need anything. Why is this guy calling me?" And finally, after talking to him for about 5 minutes, he asked me the question. He's like, "Are you Catholic?" And I guess maybe I came off as I wasn't Catholic, but I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, now we've got something that we can talk about." And so that kind of led me down the path of actually becoming a Knight and becoming a field agent, and really just my whole focus was, again, like with banking and lending. That was all that I had ever known, but I just wasn't happy. I was looking for more of a different purpose in life. I never If you'd have told me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that I would be an insurance agent and I would be an insurance agent with the Knights of Columbus, I would have bet any sum of money that that would never happen. And I think for most field agents that really embrace our culture, they really feel a closeness with Father McGivney. And I really believe that even to this day, like the reason Stephen called me was there had to have been something that Father McGivney said, you need to reach out to this guy. And so I went down the path. I guess my claim to fame was I was the first and I think only assistant field agent before I actually became a field agent. And I started that like in August of 2016. And I signed my official field agent contract October 1st of 2016. And fast forward a couple of years, I've qualified for the Supreme Knights Club the first year that I was fully a field agent. So the year of 2017, I think, number 28 in the company as a field agent, and um, was really doing well. And I would have been perfectly happy being a field agent for the rest of my career. Um, but as our territory expanded into Eastern Arkansas, it was Daniel needed essentially an assistant general agent. So he asked me in September of 18 to come on board as an assistant general agent. And so I took another leap of faith, and I've been in this role now for 3 years and a month, and I'm perfectly happy being assistant general agent, and I could be an assistant general agent for the rest of my career, and I would be perfectly happy doing that. So I really feel blessed that I'm in this role. I feel blessed to work with the men that I work with. I get to talk to people like you, Justin, that share our values. And there's no better way to make a good living and to meet with families that share my value and share my faith. So that's my story.
Well, incredible, and we're very blessed to have somebody like you here in Tennessee. Um, now, last night we had a fraternal benefit night. That was, I believe, it was
Mhm.
order wide. Is that correct?
Say that again.
Was that order wide, or was that just something?
No, it's no. So actually, it was put on by several general agents and their agencies. Daniel was one of them. I think we had some representatives from Louisiana, from your neck of the woods, right? Um, there was some Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia was part of that, as well as our group of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So you could say it was probably more of the southeastern part of the area itself. So I think there was maybe five agencies represented for this fraternal benefits night.
Now, for those who may be watching Brother Knights that maybe like yourself that are looking for a career change,
Mhm.
what would you say to them, or how can they reach out to you or Dan or
Yeah. So
anybody?
yeah. So sure. Anybody that, and again, full disclosure, I was not looking for this job. I was not looking for this career or this career path. I would say that, if you want to make a very good living, that one, the possibilities are endless. It's really up to the man. They're their CEOs of their own territory. So how they want to run their territory is going to be up to them. We have a pretty rigorous training program. We have a specific process that we like to talk to our guys about. If they follow that process, they'll do very well. If they don't follow the process, then it can be hard. The business can be hard. It's not, we always say, it's if it were easy, everybody would do this, and it's not an easy job. There are a lot of early mornings. There are a lot of late nights. But it's a very thankful job. You meet so many different people. Typically, our guys are responsible anywhere between 700 to 900 families. So you're busy all the time because you're responsible for those families. And as an AGA, not only am I responsible for my families that I work with, I'm also responsible for our agents too and their families, like making sure that these guys are doing everything that's right, by our families and giving them recommendations of something that they need as opposed to maybe something that we're just trying to sell them. All of our recommendations are based off of math and science. And, we don't deviate from that. We want to make sure that our families understand what it is, each product that we're recommending that they need, and make sure that they understand those. But if a guy is looking for a different career path, he just needs to sit down and talk with me, because again, this job is not for everybody, Justin. You probably know that too. You see a lot as in your position, you see a lot of people, that may be looking to come into this field, but it just doesn't work for whatever reason. And the main thing is to sit down and talk with your agent or your assistant general agent or our general agent Daniel Shackle, and kind of get a flavor or a spin of what we do on a day in and day out basis, because there are a lot of guys that I talk to that want to do this, but after they hear a lot of the things that we do, they may come to the realization that, yeah, this probably isn't for me. And that's fine, because they're a brother knight first. We treat them as such. But if it's something that they want to move forward with, we take those proper steps and make sure that that they get licensed, because you got to be licensed in the state in order to sell insurance. They have to train with us, and typically the training time can be a couple of months. I mean, it could be 60 to 90 days, because we want to make sure that they hit the ground running when they start, and they're all the fundamentals, if you will, are in place when they sign that contract on day one, and we've got business coming in the door for them on day one. Does that
Right.
help?
Absolutely. Finally, as we kind of wrap things up here, tell me a little bit maybe about one or two products that the Knights offer that you want to kind of highlight for maybe a brand new Knight that just joined online is
Sure.
watching this, and maybe a couple of products that you guys offer that you want to highlight.
Yeah. So one, our bread and butter is our cash value whole life policies. Those are, I would put those against any in the industry, whether they're commercial companies or whether they're other fraternal companies. And our whole life products are amazing. It has a lot of cash in it. The main thing with our whole life is the earlier you start, the better, because there's a lot of interest that's involved with that. So if you can start at an early age, which is what I've told our girls to do, because we bought them whole life policies when they were younger. And so that helps them, and they are paying for those. So, but that helps them understand the value of a dollar, and also understands the importance of starting early. And when they get into their retirement age, they've built up a nice, safe nest egg of cash that there's a lot of flexibility to it. They could convert that into an income stream for them in retirement if they want to. They don't have to, but it's another layer of money that they have. Another one of the really good policies that we have, and that's becoming hot button issues, is for our families that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, long-term care, extended care planning. That is something that a lot of we talk to our families about, as far as like, no retirement plan is complete unless you have this extended care planning, this long-term care planning. as part of their portfolio. And a lot of that is a result of a lot of them seeing their own mom and dad go through struggles, later in life, and they need, whether it's in-home care or nursing home care, assisted living type facilities or memory care facilities, they're seeing their own family go through these things. So it's better to get those things started early as opposed to later, because we tell all of our families, you're never as healthy as you are today than you would be 5 years from now. So don't buy, it's like, if Justin gets in a car accident, he doesn't call State Farm and says, "Hey, I just got in a car accident. I need to get auto insurance." By that time, it's too late. So get insurance, whether it's life insurance or long-term care, while you're young, while you're healthy. Don't wait, don't delay. Do that today as opposed to waiting till your body starts breaking down. So I hope that makes some sense. Those are two of the policies. Again, we have term policies, we have universal life policies, but again, when we make recommendations, they're based off of needs and mathematical and scientific facts. We're not suggesting anything that these families don't need. So, and we just try to educate them and find out what the best formula for them is for them and their specific family.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all that great information. And again, thank you for joining us today. If anybody listening to this would like to contact you, and maybe some people don't know who their agent is, how can they reach out and contact you?
Yeah, so they can call me. My cell phone number is 901-277-1023. And email is always good as well. It's lance.jolly, and that's JOLLY, @kofc.org. So feel free to email me if you have any questions or anything that you need there as well.
Again, thank you so much for joining us, and look out for our next episode coming soon.
Great. Thanks, Justin.